charter school logo. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our biweekly Tech Bites here for SWREC. Today we have Amber Richmond doing quizzes and Quizlet. So let's go ahead and get Quizzical here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Amber now so she could get a little bit more intro, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Tech Bites at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Daniel. So the reason I'm here today is I really want to encourage everyone to make their classrooms engaging, make learning fun for kids, and to make their daily presentations a little more interactive and fun for kids. So let me share my screen for a second. All right. So we're going to talk about two programs that will help you make your classrooms more interactive and engaging for students. And that is Quizlet and Quizizz. All right, first up, we are going to talk about Quizlet. So Quizlet allows you to create content and then have your students study. So you can take your study guides for tests and you can put it in there. There's a lot of in-class activities where you can just give them extra practice with things, and then also give them the ability to have self-directed learning for that independent practice time and even at home practice time as well. There is also homework support when it comes to their textbooks also. So it's got a lot of cool features. And so we're going to go over some of those today. First of all, let's talk about how to make an account. So first thing you want to do is go to the Quizlet website, which is Quizlet.com. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in the chat, and that will be in the PowerPoint as well. So just easy, Quizlet.com. And then you're going to create a free account. You're going to sign up. And so when we go to sign up, it looks like this. And you can continue with Google. You can create an account using your Facebook account, or you can just sign up using your email. So you put in your birthday, email, and a password, and then you just click sign up, and that's it. It will log you in. It's as easy as that. Once you get into Quizlet, it's going to take you to your homepage, which looks like this. So it's going to show all the recent things you've done. It's going to tell you how often you've been participating. It is even going to recommend other things for you to do. And so let's start with this navigation at the top. So there is home. This will always take you back to this home where it has all of your study sets. There is your library. So when I click on this, it's going to let me either see my classes that I've made, study sets. So those are the lessons that I've prepared for my students, folders. So I can organize those study sets into folders, and expert solutions. I can also get to expert solutions up here as well. And I can also create new study sets up here as well. So let's go through some of this. First of all, if we go to classes, you can click a class if you already have it. If you don't have it, you can also create a class right here. So I already have my class made, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. If I did want to create a new class, I could go to view all classes right here, and it has my home profile and it has the one class that I have. But I can go through these tabs and there's even more options. I mean, I have all my tools in the way here. But yeah, I can just click the plus up here at the top and I can create a new class if I wanted to. And I can, so I'm just going to show you, make a 2nd hour class. And I can also connect that class to my school as well. So now that I've done that, when I go to my library, I now have 2 classes. Okay. So in addition to having classes, we can also have study sets. And when you're in your classes, you can see the study sets that you've made. You can add students to your classes. And if you have the paid version, you have to have the paid version. You can view their progress on those study sets. But again, you have to have the paid version. So let's get into these study sets and how to create them for our students. So there are 2 ways. One way is we can hit this plus up here. and we can create a study set. And it's gonna let me start building it. So I can just put in the title. So let's say we are teaching figurative language. I can put that title in. I could add a description if I want. Now I can import. So if I have a list of words and definitions in Word or Excel or Google Docs or anything, I can import those in and they will become a study set. Going down here, we have some privacy options. So I can make it visible to everyone, or I can change that and only make it visible to certain classes or people that have a password, or just me if I'm not ready for people to see it. And then I can also choose who can edit it. So if I have like a co-teacher and I want them to be able to go in and edit my study sets, I can give it a password. Or if I want classes to make study sets, I could allow them to edit my study sets as well. All right. This is like a picture at the top. This is optional. You don't have to do this part. And in fact, see how it has this little lock right here? That means you can only do that if you have the paid version. So down here, think of flashcards. So we have the term on one side, the definition on another. If we were doing math, we could put a math problem here. Just put 5 plus 5. And it's going to give me some options. If I did 5 plus 5 equals, and it's going to say, I recommend you put 10. If I was doing figurative language and I wanted to write like simile, it's going to give me predictive. I didn't even have to finish it. And then over here on the definition side, click the right one here. I spelled it wrong. Simile. There we go. And then it's going to give me the already pre-built definition. You can put your own. And if you do the predictive, the prediction here, when you click image, you'll also get some image predictions that are pretty accurate. Same thing up here. So if like 10 fingers, or it'll give me pictures of 10 things with 10. Or the number 5. Or let's say I want to change that, I can always search an image by typing something in there. Or I can just upload my own image as well. Or I don't have to put an image at all if I don't want to. So I could just put a 5 there or whatever. All right. Once you've done all of your cards for your students, you're going to just hit create. And then you have a study set. Once you have a study set, you then have some ways of assigning them as an in-class activity to your students. I also use these for me personally. Like if you need to study for your praxis exam for your teaching classes, I will make a study set and I will take one of those practice tests, put in the questions I didn't know, and use it to help me study. So once you have this, in order to help you study, you can click flashcards and you can set up how these look. So this one is set up right now to give me the answer first, and I don't want that. I want it to give me the questions first. So I'm going to come up here to options, and I'm just going to answer with definition. If I change that, it will change this. And so now I'm seeing this, and then I click and I can see the answer. So if I want to know what that is, I can click and then I can see the answer. So students can study with that. The next one is to click learn. So learning, actually, let me show you one of these with a bigger study set because this only has 2 questions, so it's not a very good example. So let's find one that has a whole figurative language set. So I can search for anything I want to teach up here. And it's going to give me options. You want study sets, textbooks, questions, users, or classes. So I'm going to click study sets. And these are all the ones other people have made. And so I can come down and I can preview them until I find one that I like, one that matches what I'm teaching. Once I find one that I like, I can click study. And I'll have all my options again, this time with their questions. Now, if I did like this and I did want to use it with my class, I could. I could just save it and assign it to them. So let me show you how to do that. All right. So if this is the one that I like, I can click right here to assign things to them. And I believe right here, I can add this set to the class. I can also save and edit it or share it. So the easiest way is to click the plus and add it to your class. So let's say I added it to my first hour class, and I could even add it to my second hour class if I wanted to. And then now when I come back up here and go to my class, you're going to see the assignment right here. Students that are in my class can just click on it here. You can also email them the link as well. So let's go back. We left off on learn last time. So I'm going to click learn. And now they have some multiple choice. So they have the definition and they have to pick which word is correct. And it's going to go through, and there's some different, they get it wrong, it'll tell them the correct answer. They can hit continue. And so basically it turns it into like a multiple choice game. That's the learn option. And then there's test. Test is going to mix up a variety of things. So first it's going to give you true or false. And then it's going to go into multiple choice. And then it'll have some matching at the bottom where they can actually click and put words in to see if they know it. It's also going to remember which ones they got wrong. And then those will show up more often when they're doing the flashcards in practice. Okay, and then there's also matching. And so they just have the word, and then they have to match it to the definition. If it's wrong, it'll bounce back. If it's right, it will disappear. All right. And then there's these two. So these are more in-class activities. Classic Live, I'm going to show you that one first. So if I click on that, you can choose to have random teams or individuals. And then you can choose to see, do you want it to give the definition and then they pick the word, or do you want it to give the word and then they have to find the definition? So I'm going to choose to have it this way. And then it's going to give me a code. Now, I could assign that code in Canvas. You can copy the link to it here. The easiest way I do it is I just project this and I tell my students, go to this website and type in this code. So on the student side, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So it looks like this. They'll go to the website and it will simply give them a spot to put the code. So then we can take this code and I'm just going to paste it in, but they can type it in. You have to have, so I'm going to go ahead and type my name. You have to have at least 2 players in Quizlet in order to go live. So I'm going to go ahead and add another one as well. So now that I have my 2 students, and so it's going to give them the chance to study their flashcards as they wait so they get that additional practice. And then when I'm ready, I'm just going to, once I have enough students, then I'll be able to click create game and then come over here. I can shuffle the teams. At this point, it doesn't allow you to customize your teams, but if you had the paid version, then you would be able to customize your teams. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and it's going to have a bar right here. If students get the correct answer, it's going to move them up a point. If they get the incorrect answer, it's going to let you know that they did one, they got it incorrect. Now, as we keep going, that incorrect answer does go back to 0 points. But then if they do get it right, it'll move them up a point. And so you just have your students, they're kind of competing against each other. I leave this projected so they can see how the other person's doing. And you just kind of go through all of the cards. And again, they're doing it at their own pace. There's no timers, there's no and so basically you keep going until one of the teams scores 10 points. If they get them wrong, it takes away a point and they go back down. So if they're just clicking and they're getting them all wrong, then they will never finish. So it really motivates them to actually read and try to get them right, or they're never going to finish it. So that's that one. The next one I want to show you is checkpoint. Checkpoint is my favorite in quizzes. So checkpoint I can choose. So like, let's say I have taught half my lesson, but not all of it. Or let's say according to data, I can tell that there's certain ones they are struggling with. I can go in and select just the ones that I want to teach. And then I can hit continue. It's going to give them the code again. So I'm going to go ahead and enter them in. And then I can click start game once I have 2 students. It's going to give them the definition and then they have to click the word. And now on my screen, remember, this is a teacher screen. So now we have the time limit now. We have the question on my screen, and then on their side, they have to click what they think is the correct answer. At the end, it'll show them the correct answer, and then it'll show you how many got it right, how many got it wrong, and who put what answer. And that gives you time as a teacher to look at this and say, oh, I see one of you put A, but one of you put B. Let's talk about why this is the correct answer and make it an intentional, immediate feedback, letting them know like where they're making mistakes. So I always found that really beneficial. And the kids always like to cheer if they got it right. And it just made class a lot more fun. And this one, if they get it wrong, it doesn't take away their points. The faster the answer, the more points they get. And if they get the correct answer, if they get the correct answer, they get points, but they get more points if they get the correct answer faster. At the end, it does do a little high score list. And as the teacher, you can also kind of see how they're doing as you're going along. So you have this on your screen. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. And I'm going to go back to my classes. So that was first hour. So now I have some data. So I can look at progress. And so you'll notice I can't see any progress unless I have the paid version. But if I had the paid version, I could go in and I can look back and see how they did at certain things. So we'll talk about what that costs in a little bit. So you can search study sets from any topic. I've even made some of like get to know you. But another thing that Quizlet has that is unique to Quizlet that no other platform I found has is expert solutions. So they actually work with textbook creators. And so I can look up an actual textbook in here. So let's say you use Eureka Math. So let's say you use this textbook. I can click on that textbook and I can see some of the chapters, and I can go in there and I can go to the section of the textbook where I'm struggling, and I can click on, say, exercise 1, and it's going to walk me through how to do that problem step by step. And so it has step 1. Oops, bring that back. So it has step 1. Sorry, my Zoom tools got in the way. And then if I want to go to the next exercise, I can go there and I can have it show all the steps if I want to. And so I can go through and check my work and make sure I'm doing it right. So I thought that was really cool, especially as a teacher, if you're struggling, if it's something you're not real confident with that you're having to teach, you can come in here and you can have it show you how to solve it so you can make sure you're teaching it correctly. Now, it does not have all of the chapters of your book. It does not have all of the practice problems. So this is also going to help you get ahead of cheating with students, because you don't want them to come on here and find the answers to their homework. So you can come in here and see which answers are actually there, give them those a couple of practice problems, have them check their work with it, so they can see where they're messing up. And then you can assign some of those that aren't in here for them to do extra practice with. And so that'll actually help you get ahead of cheating and things like that. The expert solutions, they have a lot of different topics. They have chemistry, calculus, engineering, linear algebra, physics, biology, languages, and business. So there's a lot of textbooks in here with the full breakdown of the problems if that's something that you need. Okay, so let's go back to this. So we went over expert solutions, study sets, preview and practice modes. So let's talk about a little bit about how much Quizlet paid costs. So it's basically, it's really cheap. It's $35.99 a year and it's $2.99 a month. And that will allow you to see the data of your students, the real-time data on who's struggling with what. And then it also gets rid of ads and allows you to like customize your fonts and things like that. Okay, so now I want to move on to Quizizz. So Quizizz has the kind of like Quizlet, where it has the tests and allows the students to study, but it also has a lot more features. So we use Quizlets. You can make interactive lessons, a lot like Nearpod, where we have our presentations, but we also have interactive slides for the students to do. So there's activities and questions built in that they are actually answering as you're presenting your lesson. And it also has the quiz side where we can just do a quick check to see if students are getting it or not. And this is going to allow us to collect real-time data, and all of the data in this one is free, and you can see it as you're teaching your lesson because they're interactive lessons and you can see where they're struggling as you're teaching. So if you need to add something or go over something a little bit more in depth based on their data, you can do it real time instead of waiting until it's too late. And then also we want to make class fun, and competition is fun for students. And you can also not only do this live in class, but you can assign them as homework as well. So let me give you the link to Quizizz. I'm put in the chat. And to create a free account, you simply click sign up, the top corner. You can continue with your Google account and Microsoft account, or you can just create an account with an email, however you want to do it. And so once you've put in your email address, you choose if it's for work, school, or personal. Then you choose if you're a student, a teacher, or admin. And very important, make sure you connect this with your school. So you put in your information. I'm just gonna put in some random information for right now. And then you want to make sure that you actually connect it with your school. And I'll show you why here in a second. So once you've created an account, then it will look like, go back to this. Here we go. Then it will look like this once you're in. So you'll notice it has a lot of features over here. So we have Explore, My Library, My Organization, Reports, Classes, and Settings. So first I want to start with what does Quizizz have? So they have a whole library with lessons. So let's say you're teaching math and you want to teach ratios. You can just type that in. There's tons of lessons and quizzes. And so the difference between a lesson and a quiz is a quiz will just have questions. And there might be different activities based on which one you pick. So this one's a lot of multiple choice. Some might get more creative than others, but a lot of the quizzes are mostly multiple choice as you're going through these. But then there's also lessons. So lessons actually are lessons created by teachers, and they walk them through what a ratio is. And then they'll have questions built into that presentation. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about how to create these. So let's start with a quiz so you can kind of see how that's built. So there's two options. You can use the automatic builder or you can create from scratch. So I would use automatic builder if I was doing something that is pretty much the same, like figurative language. It's going to be pretty much the same words, the same practice. So I could just do figurative language, generate this quiz, and it's going to throw some questions in here. Some of them might be on point. Some of them might be totally disjointed. So you'll notice that one doesn't really go with what I was wanting, but this one does. And it could, but see, I wouldn't want that one. So I'm going to delete that one. And so it just kind of does the front work, and then you can go in and delete the ones that don't really match what you're wanting to do. But let's go back and let's choose the other option. And let's create one from scratch. So you'll notice that you have a lot of options. So a lot of people do the multiple choice, but that's because that is free. So these ones with the gold flag on them, those are the ones if you have the paid version. So really you can only do multiple choice and fill in blank, drawing, open-ended, polls, and slides if you have the free version. The other ones become unlocked if you do the paid version. So I'm going to go ahead and click multiple choice right now. And it's going to tell me to type my question. It does not have an auto predictor like the other one. So you will have to type everything. Then you'll put in your answers. I'm just going to type randomness for right now. And then you can check which one's correct. You can add pictures as well. You can add equations for math. You can also insert images and audio as well. If you wanted to. Correctly. Okay. You could add those in if you wanted to. Be careful though, because like this image gives them the answer, so we don't want to do that. You can also add audio telling them the instructions, or you can add a brief little video. Now, again, these are the paid versions as well. So once you have added your question, you're ready to save it. We're just going to go down here to the bottom and click save. And there's our question. So if we want to add another question, it brings up our options. We can click on it. And then when we're done, you can put a background image on the drawing or just have it blank. I'm going to choose blank and save. And so then that gives them the option to draw. And you just keep going until you add all of your questions. Now you can import questions from other sheets and things as well, just like you could in Quizlet. All right, when you're done with your quiz, you can preview it to see what it will look like for students. And then go to the next question so I can see what my drawing looks like. And it's not going to actually let you edit it on the previous screen. All right, and when you're done in the top right-hand corner, you're just going to click Save. It's going to ask you to name it and choose your subject's grade. You can choose what, how visible it is to everyone. So you can make it private or you can make it to where everyone can see it. And you can also change the language if it's in another language as well. So I'm going to hit Save and Continue. And then it's going to give me the option to start a live quiz or assign as homework. I'm going to hit Not Now for right now. We'll go over how to assign things in a bit. But I can see it's there. If I go to my library, it's right here on the top. Okay, we can also explore and we can view lots of quizzes on any topics. There's some templates here for like daily check-ins and things. There's different subjects and options for different subjects as well. So now I'm going to go to create and show you what a lesson looks like if we were to create a lesson instead of a quiz. So you can bring your lesson in from Google Slides. So if you have a Google slide that you already use to teach, you can import that. If you have your presentations on PowerPoints, in our advanced Nearpod lesson, I taught you how to import, change it from a PowerPoint to a Google slide. So you could bring that in. It's the same process here. You can go to Google Slides and you can bring in that PowerPoint to your Google Drive and open it with Google Slides. And then you can bring them in here as well. But I'm going to go ahead and create it from scratch, but it is super easy to connect it to your Google Drive. You just have to log in and then you can choose your already pre-made presentations and add to them. But I'm going to go ahead and just add a new slide. You'll notice with the slides, we have a lot of different options for activities. But again, the ones with like the little flag are not free. So we want to stick to the free ones if we don't have that already made. So these are interactive activities, but I can also just do a slide. So I can say, you know, here's my title slide, and then I can type that in. All right. And I can format it however I want. And then I can come back up here. Let me go ahead and title this lesson. All right. Then at the bottom, I can click to add another new slide. But I do like to always save after each, saying I'm missing pieces. Let's see what we're missing. All right. Let me get rid of this help thing that's in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and preview that. I can see what that slide looks like. That looks good. I can adjust settings on my slides. Again, with that visibility, adding cover photos and things. I'm not quite sure why it's telling me I'm missing stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and back out for a minute and go back in. And try that again. There we go. It's working now. Just needed to refresh it. Okay. So I can add does do spell check for me. All right, and then whenever I have what I want, I can just come over here and I can add another slide, which is not a figurative language. And I can add interactive slides as well as, and again, I'm just coming down here, clicking add new slides. I can add information slides. I can do slides with pictures. I could do videos if I wanted to add a video. Lots of different options here of things that I can add, web page links. And again, just lots of activities. And so it's pretty simple to make your slides. When you're done, you just hit save. Oh, it's saying there's not enough question options. Does make you answer things. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. All right, that looks good. All right. So you can't leave slides unanswered and things not filled out, or it doesn't let you save. But once you have it all done, you can save it and it's going to go again into your library. So these are all the ones that I've done. And again, I can even do folders if I want to keep them more organized, and I can put things into folders as well. Now, the cool thing about quizzes is I'm not on an island by myself. So let's say you work in a department and one of the people in your department is extra great with technology and you want to access their quiz or lesson, you can come down here to my organization. And then you can just come down here, click on that teacher's name, and you can see all of the lessons that they have created. And then from there, you can even click on them, you can look at them. And if you decide this is something that you want to save for your class, you can click save, choose which folder to put it, or create a new folder, click done, and that will go into that folder for you to use with your classes. So that's why I said it's super important that on this that you do add your school, because you can have access to all of the teachers in your school and everything that they have created. So I always thought that was really cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how to assign things in quizzes and how that looks. So let's say I wanted to assign this figurative language lesson to my students. So it's a lesson, it has some terms, it has some questions built in, and I want to assign it. So I have two options. I can start a live lesson that I'm doing in class with my students, or I can assign it as homework. So I'm going to go ahead and do a live lesson. Now you can schedule this for later. You can also have some options here where you can show the slides on their devices as well, because with some of these, what I find is kids that can't see the board have trouble answering. But if you have that on, then they'll see the slide on their screen as well. You can have it auto-generate them a name so that you don't have students that are making up inappropriate names. But I like to leave that off because I like to have the students type their own names. You can add a timer to the questions, or you can turn that off if you don't want them to be timed. You can have it show the leaderboard, or you can shut that off as well. And then you can shuffle answer options. I always like to do that because that way students that are sitting right by each other, they're not clicking the same answers all the time. They can't just copy each other because the answers are shuffled between the different students in your classroom. When you're ready and you have all your options set, hit present. And again, it's going to tell them to go to joinmyquiz.com and enter this game code. So let me show you what that will look like. So I actually typed join my quiz.com. And I don't have to come up here and fill this out. I can just click join a game. Oh, I'm signed in. Let me log out. There we go. So I can just come up to the top. They don't have to sign in. So I can enter the code. So I'm going to enter that code 706165 and I can join a game. And then I can name myself, or if you had turned that random code generator on, it might give them some random name and they can shuffle to change that name. Once they're in, you can go ahead and hit start. And they're going to see what you have on your screen. So you have some options down here. You can go to the next slide. So you're controlling their slides. So as you're going through your content, you're going through your presentation, they also see it on their screens as well. You also have some other settings here. So you can hide your control center. This is where you end your session. There's a volume. There's a slide navigator. So let's say they got slides 1 through 5 done the first day and you're ready to start slide 6. You can skip to slide 6 and it will put them on slide 6. As students are answering questions, you can come down here and you can see how they're doing. You can see how many points they have. You can kick them or hide their names as well. If you don't like their names, let's say they had something inappropriate, you can say, I don't want to see their name. Go ahead and hide their name and it will hide it. Let's say I have this, I saw that they got it wrong or right, and I want to give them a little bit more instruction. I can click this green button and have a live whiteboard. So I can click on this and it's going to put that question up and I can actually draw on it. I can annotate. I can talk about why it wasn't a certain answers. It's got a highlighter. I can highlight if I want to, choose the color of my highlighter, change the thickness of my highlighter. Also has a handy dandy eraser. If I don't want to see the question, I can just click change background and I can do a blank whiteboard or upload an image of my own. And I can have a whiteboard to write on as well. When I'm done with my whiteboard, I can go back and it takes me right where I left off in my lesson. On the student side, they have some options here as well. So if they click options, they can turn to have it read aloud text to them. So if there's a student who struggles with reading, they can turn that on. If they don't like the cheesy music and sound effects, they can turn those off. And if they speak a different language, they can switch to whatever language they want, and it will translate it for them. So that's very handy as well. All right. So that's a Quizizz lesson. Let's look at a Quizizz quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and click settings here and I'm going to end this session. When you do end a session, you do have the option to view the report. So let's look at that really quick before we go on. And this is also in the reports area here. So I can see all of the students that I had and how they did. I can see which ones they've answered, which ones they haven't. I can come down here and look at which ones they got right and why. And I can even print that information as well. So as I'm teaching and it's asking them questions between the things I'm teaching, I'm getting real live data on what they're actually comprehending and what they're not getting. And that's our participant. And we can also come over here and view them by question, a general overview to see which questions they're struggling on the most. And then I can print and download those or share them with my team as well. So let's go back to our library and let's look at a quiz. Pick one that actually has questions in it though. So here's a quiz. So now I can do a live quiz. So there's instructor pace where I'm going to be moving them through each question together, or I can do classic where that allows them to go at their own pace. I'm going to go ahead and choose classic for this example. And you have some options. So you can allow them to skip questions and attempt later. You can have them have an adaptive question bank mode. So this is basically where it's going to change random questions every time, just mixing up the test so they can't copy each other. You can also assign these to classes as well as changing some other settings like automatic naming, letting them see the answers or not after they've attempted. And there's a lot of just settings. So just like go through them. You can turn on and off the music, that kind of thing as well. You can say, hey, this is a test. That'll automatically turn off the fun music and things. Or we can do it more as a classic question answer mode. So again, there's a lot to this. So once you have it all set up, hit continue. It's going to generate that code for your students to enter. All right. You can start it. And then they're going to get the questions. They get it wrong, it'll tell them that they're wrong. It'll bring up these funny memes. You can turn those off if you don't want them. They get it right, they get points. And then you can kind of see how they're doing over here on this side. I'm going to mute this a minute. Okay, so you can see how they're doing. You can see all of your students on your dashboard and kind of watch in real time how they're doing. You can click questions and kind of see which questions that they're struggling on. That'll give you that immediate feedback on what you need to reteach and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and end that, and we're going to talk a little bit about assigning as homework, which is very similar. So let's say I wanted to assign this same quiz, but I wanted it to be homework. Back to my library. So this time I'm going to assign as homework. So again, I can choose when they start it. I can have a specific deadline that I'm going to say you have to finish it by this time, or I can go with no deadline. And there's some options that I can turn on or off. I can assign this directly to my Google Classroom, Canvas, Schoology. And again, some of these require the paid LMS subscription. I can let them put their names, all those same settings that I showed you last time. We can put those in. When I'm ready, I can click assign. This time it looks a little different. This time it doesn't just give them the code. So I can give them the code, but I would recommend copying this link and then putting it into your LMS or wherever you give them homework. You can have them write down the code for later. It's the same website that they went to. You can also assign to any of these LMSs right here as well for them to have access to it. So I'm just going to go back. Let me go back to join my quiz and then put in that code. And then did remember my name. And so now they're doing it at home on their own time. They're going to get some power-ups. So when they're ready, they're going to hit start game. The more they get right in the row, so these are their power-ups up here. When they use it, it will go away. They only have so much time to use it. And they can click on it to see what that will do. And they can activate them whenever they want. So different ones do different things. Like this is going to protect their perfect answer streak if they do get a wrong answer, if they have it turned on. This one's going to eliminate one incorrect. So if they're not sure, they can activate that and it'll take away one incorrect. But I mean, if I was a kid and I had this as homework, I would think that was a lot more fun than just trying to do it on a piece of paper. It gives them funny memes in between if they want it. And again, they can turn those off when they go to log in. Once they've used all their power-ups, that's it. They get no more. And so it's a fun way to give homework. Kids appreciate it. All right, so that is assigning homework with quizzes. Now we can come over here and click our reports again. And we can say, looking at this homework, and I can see exactly which students have attempted. You can notice I exited before I saved my progress, but it did save my progress. So I can see that they completed 3 problems. They haven't completed the rest. They've gotten 2 out of 3 correct. And so I have all this real-time data that I can use for my classes. Now I'm going to come over here and click classes. You can add your students here as well, and they can log into their Quizizz account, and then they can just see your assignments without having to remember game codes. So that's pretty cool. And then you have some general settings here as well. All right, let's go back to this. So I went through creating an account. We explored the navigation menu. We talked about sharing within your organization, creating a quizzes and exploring quizzes that are already there, and then looking at our reports. So let's talk about the paid versus free version of quizzes. So with the school plan, you can sync to your LMSs, get a lot more options. Now, this is a little bit more costly because they want you to buy the LMS plan, which is through your district. So you will have to do this through your schools. But there is a link here that you can share with your admin. So if you're just in quizzes and you go to account type, it'll send you to this page and you can click that link to send that to your principal if you're interested. So no matter what tool you're using though, we want to increase engagement. We want to make learning fun for kids so that we have less behavior problems and students are learning and they're having fun while doing it. I want to make school a place where they want to be. All right, and with that, I do want to take you to our Southwest Rec Tech Bytes page. So this is our Tech Bytes page. Here you can see upcoming Tech Bytes that we have and lunch and learns. So we do have coming up on March 7th, keeping your password safe with safe password managers. We also have adding hyperlinks to your documents. If you go to our Southwest Rec Region 10 Bytes sessions, you can click on that and you can see our full schedule of ones that we have up and coming. So we are the left-hand side. So if you come down here, you can register for all of the upcoming Tech Bytes that we have until the end of May. You can also click over here to get to our YouTube channel and view any of the past Tech Bytes that we have done. So those are housed within YouTube and you can see all of the ones that we have done. All right, well, that's all I have for today. Go ahead and stop sharing. Daniel, you want to take it over?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amber, for that handoff. I would like to really thank everyone for viewing these videos. We are going to be moving them forward for this year up until the end of May, as Amber said, and also on the schedules. The next tech bites that we're going to be doing are going to be the password management. I'm going to be the one that's going to be presenting that for you. I have a little surprise kind of for everyone. Everyone loves passwords, so I'm just going to try to make this one fun. And also with the hyperlinks in your documents and other areas that you need to. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. If not, have a wonderful day and hopefully we'll be seeing you all next week.